Well then, I am currently sat on the M25. It is a Thursday afternoon and I've just been to view a classic Ford. So, yeah, I've bought another one. I'm just like recording this now as raw footage for my actual reaction because everyone gets excited when they purchase a new car. Basically, I put a deposit down, I was happy with the price, and I'm gonna go and pick it up on Saturday. So I've got 2 days to wait. And for you guys, it's only going to be a matter of seconds. So without further ado, let's cut to the day of picking it up. Well then, it is now Saturday morning and I've picked up the new vehicle. I purchased it a couple of hours ago and I'm nearly home. I've done about 70 miles or so in it, and touch wood, it's actually all good at the moment. Now, I purchased the new vehicle with a quarter of a tank of fuel and, well, it's still got fuel left in it. So yeah, it's really economical and, well, you can probably all tell what it is by now. Anyway, let's get home and I'll show you guys around it. Here is my new purchase, a Mk6 Ford Escort 75 van. Now, I did actually put a little question on Instagram the other day saying that I purchased another Ford and if you guys can guess what I've purchased. And loads of you guys said one of these vans because you know that I love them. So these Mk6 Escort vans were made between 1996 and 2002. It's a facelift up from the Mark V. It's got a different front lights, different bonnet, different wings, but basically just a little bit of a facelift from the Mark V. Now, most of you guys that watch my videos are older than me and have probably owned one of these Escort vans along the line or driven one. Now, I've just got such a, I don't know, I think it's a bit of a craze at the moment with these. I really, really like them and I just had to purchase this one. So my Escort van is on 89,000 miles. It was made in the year 2000, so it is just 1 year younger than myself, and it has had 6 previous keepers. It really is hard to gauge the classic car market and especially the classic Fords. I know some of you will argue that this isn't a classic yet, but it's nearly at 25 years old and yeah, they are becoming sought after in good condition. Now, these Escort vans are sometimes called the Escort 55 vans, and mine is actually an Escort 75 van. Now, all these numbers are regarding is the payload. So the 55s can carry 550 kilograms and the 75s can carry 750 kilograms. Now, I'm more than happy for someone to correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure the differences from the 55 and the 75 are that it's got uprated rear leaf springs and also a different bias pedal valve or something. So yeah, if you know the differences, please whack them in the comment section below. Let's dive into the engine bay. So you could get a 1.3 petrol engine in these, but they were dropped very early on, which left the 1.8 Endura diesel engine or the 1.8 diesel turbo Endura engine. Now mine, unfortunately, is the non-turbo, which I don't actually mind because I've already got one of these engines in a different vehicle that I own. Now, this one, as I say, has done 89,000 miles, and the bloke I bought it off, he basically covered it in WD-40 before the sale. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, it's all got sort of a greasy look now, which is a bit annoying. Now, this Endura engine whacks out a massive 60 brake horsepower, and I was quite surprised when researching the engines that the turbocharged one only gives you an extra 10 brake horsepower. Now, just looking around the engine bay rust-wise, the battery tray is so nice and clean. There isn't any holes or any surface rust in there. The strut tops are all nice and clean as well. But because it's such a later van, as you can see down here, it actually doesn't have like a inner wing as such because you've just got the plastic wheel arch there. So yeah, I've had a look at the chassis legs. They look in half decent condition. As you can see, I'm just down there. But no, overall, really happy with this. And also, it's still got both of the original wings. You can see the original spot welds there and on this one here. Let's take a dive into this interior. As we can see, the door cards are sort of like a vinyl finish, and they are actually like really dark blue. I thought they were black, but they've got just a tinge of navy in them. And as we make our way inside the interior, as you can see, we've got a steering wheel with an airbag in it, and we've also got a passenger airbag. Now, this was sort of just when the airbags were coming into cars and vehicles when they made this Escort van. As for documentation with the van, I didn't get too much. I just got this Haynes manual and I've got a couple of old MOTs. So yeah, really not a lot on that front, but we're not going to worry about that too much. As we look at the seats, they're in real good condition. There's no rips or tears to the bolsters. They do just need a real good hoover because there is a lot of dog hairs that have accumulated on them over the years. Now, I just want to quickly talk about the fuel economy on this van because it is so good. Now, some people might say it's because I'm a bit of a tight ass, but I like saving money where I can. So I got home on a quarter of a tank and I filled up just before I got home. It was basically running on fumes. I filled up with 47 litres and that cost me £72. So I reckon there's a 50 litre tank in here. I'm hoping to get at least 500 miles out of that because I do have a Mk6 Fiesta van which has got the same engine in it, and I get, well, over 400 miles to a tank, and that has got a smaller tank. So yeah, I just love the pocket-friendly motoring on these old vans. Everything does work in the Escort van, apart from the blower motor. This doesn't work at all on all three settings, so I'm assuming that is going to be the actual fan itself and not the resistor, because if it was the resistor, it should work on the maximum speeds. Now, it also came with two keys. It came with a red key and a black key. I'm pretty sure it's really important to have that red one, but it does start on the button. I'll show you guys here now. Wait for all them lights to go out. There we go. Literally, first turn of the button and she starts right up. Couldn't ask for more. Let me show you guys in the back of the Escort van. It is literally nothing special. As you can see, we've got our spare wheel in the back and all the original matting still down, which is nice. Also got these, I don't know what you call them, plastic protectors or matting. You've also got them original pieces on the side still, which is always nice. A couple of knocks and dings on the panels, but we're not going to worry too much about that. Someone has whacked a load of red oxide, and that theme does continue on the underside of this van. Now, I can only assume that there was just a bit of surface rust up there, and that's why they've whacked the red oxide on, but I will be addressing that because, well, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Now, I'm just going to do a quick walk around of the actual condition of the van. It was nice and clean when I picked it up, but I have driven it back home and I live in the sticks, so it's got a little bit dirty. Now, on this driver's door, we've got a little bit of rust that has been appearing down there, so they have slapped a bit of red oxide on just to prevent the rust from spreading, but I'm really not too fussed about that. Now, as we move on to this rear wheel arch, it is so clean. As you can see, not one speck of rust. That's just a bit of dirt there. It really is clean, and I don't think they've ever been done feeling the lip. Now, there is a couple of things on the panel up here, but we might be able to get them addressed further down the line. The back of the van is also nice and straight. Both of the doors open and close perfectly. The hinges haven't dropped. We have got that famous red oxide just underneath the rear number plate here, but I felt it and it's nice and solid, so I'm assuming just a bit of surface rust there, and we can whack that number plate off and get that all treated and back to body colour. Now, down the near side of the vehicle, it's exactly the same story. There's a few less dings and dents on this panel, but the rear arch is nice and clean, just like the other sides. Literally no surface rust at all. It is so clean. I know it is slightly dirty now, but you just have to trust me on that one. We've got a little bit of a dent to the door here, but I will be getting that addressed because it is one of the naughtier ones. But overall, I don't think I've picked up a bad motor here. Slight bit of rust just at the end of these gutters where they come to an end, but I'll probably get that addressed as well. And as for the bonnet, it's got a few scratches and a couple of little dents in it as well. But yeah, it was a work van for 24 years, so we've got to expect that. Overall, I am really happy with the bodywork because literally every Escort van that I see advertised has either got rusty arches or rusty sills. Now, I know I haven't shown you guys them yet, but I will be showing you when I've got it up on the ramp. But yeah, it's just really, really clean. I will be getting a few bits and bobs done, and I'm going to get them done by Charlie. He featured in one of my recent videos. He owns a body shop, and he also loves classic Fords as well. So hopefully he will enjoy working on this one. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get it up on the ramps, and we'll have a closer look at the underside of the Escort van. I've just made my way under the Escort van, and as you can see, that sump is bone dry. Now, there isn't even any other engine components leaking oil, which is really, really good. Normally you'll see like a mist of oil under these vans or something, but literally nothing. As you can see, this inner CV boot might need just tightening up that clamp a little bit, because there's a tiny bit of grease just on the outside of the boot, but it isn't actually split. Now, I'm just looking at this exhaust, and as you can see, still got a Ford logo on it, so that's a genuine Ford front box. It attaches on to the rear pipe just there, but yeah, this front bit is actually a genuine Ford item still. And here's just a little view from the front. As you can see, it really hasn't been touched. I don't think this van has done a lot of miles recently, but it soon will be in my ownership. Starter motor looks like it's been on there a while, but I did have a look at this alternator, and that looks fairly new. So yeah, it looks all good at the front here. I'm just now looking along the near sides of the floor pans, and as you can see, just around here and back here we've had a couple of patches of welding, but nothing to really write home about. I can just cover them in a bit more under seal and a little bit of seam sealer. But yeah, as you can see, it's all nice, and there's no visible signs of any big rust holes or anything. Now, I just want to touch on these outer seals. As you can see, the paint started to lift here, but there isn't actually a hole or anything, so that will just need painting and protecting. And as we come all the way back here, look, that's all straight and clean. There's a tiny bit of blister in there, but it really is solid, and so is it back here. So all these really want is a bit of paint and protection. And it is the same story here on the offside of the vehicle. As you can see, a big plate has been welded in there, but that wants just a bit of seam sealer, tidying up, and a bit of underseal over the top of it. But apart from that, that's the only rough bit. As you can see, the rest of the floor pans are nice and clean. You can have a look at this seal yourselves as well. A bit of paint that's come off there, but there's no hole. And as we just carry on going, you can just see it is really, really nice. There's no holes in the seals at all. I think these could have been possibly replaced. Now we're under the back of the van. I'm just showing you guys the near side leaf spring, the front part of it. Now these are really, really prone to rusting and rotting away by the mounts, but this one is very nice and solid. The torch isn't doing the best job on the driveway, but yeah, it's very, very clean. And here is the offside leaf spring mount. It's probably had a bit of work some time in its life, but it is all structurally sound. There's no rust holes that are found or surface rust that's going to take over and cause us any issues. As you can see, we've got our massive fuel tank there. That is huge. I reckon that's a 50-litre fuel tank. And as you can see, the red oxide is coming out to play again, so we've got a little bit on the fuel tank just where it's a bit rusty. And someone has painted the bottom of these rear shockers. I'm not sure why, probably just because they were a little bit crusty, but I will be adding them to the list of things to change. Up here, we've got no spare wheel in the carrier, but there is that spare wheel in the back of the van. Now, something I just wanted to turn my attention to that I've only just spotted now whilst I'm underneath it is this dampness. So it's slightly damp under here where the rear shoes are. Now, I don't know if the cylinder is leaking, but if it is, it might be leaking inside the drum, dribbling down and then coming out at the bottom, because yeah, it's a little bit damp. It doesn't really smell like brake fluid, but I would definitely have to investigate that. And one other section I just wanted to turn my attention to. I'm not sure if this is a common spot for them to go or not, but this whole section up here where the shock mounts up has all been welded, all along there, all along there. A massive big box has been sort of welded in there, and the welds look pretty good, so I'm very happy with them, but I wasn't too sure if that was a common place. I know it's very common for them to go on these sort of chassis legs where the leaf spring mounts to, but luckily that's all nice and clean on both sides. As you can see, this one here, that's got no rust or rot on it at all. And also we do have a brand new back box on the van, so yeah, that's always a bonus to have a fresh exhaust. Now these old Escort vans were on every street back in the day. If you didn't own one, you've probably driven one. From bricklayers to mechanics, plumbers to window cleaners, everyone had one. And they were great vans. The engines just keep going and going. They're fairly bulletproof and pretty cheap to run on fuel. And overall, they are cheap vans to run. The only thing that really lets them down is the rust. The seals, the inner seals, them sections where the leaf springs attach to, they rust away, and what most people do is they just end up scrapping them. Now, because these Escort vans were so popular and were on every street, they're almost becoming a bit scarce now. And dare I say it, they're becoming a bit of a celebrity in the classic van market. As they're getting older, the numbers that are on the road are just decreasing rapidly. People are just scrapping them left, right and centre. And to get a clean one now, you're looking at quite a bit of money. Now I do use the auctions as a bit of evidence here. Last time I was up at Anglia Car Auctions, I spotted a Mk6 Escort van. Really tatty. I'll put some pictures of it up on the screen now. Now this sold for nearly £2,000. It had one owner from new, but there wasn't a panel that was straight on it. £2,000, I think that is solid money for such a rough and ready van. And if we look at the price of another Escort van that went through the auctions recently, it was back in last summer. Now this one did have some Cosworth wheels on it, so I will deduct £1,000 off of the estimate that I think it's worth. So it sold for £5,000. So take the wheels off because they were worth £1,000 if they were genuine. So it went for about £4,000. Now that's good money, I think. Really good money that these Escort vans are fetching. I think it'd be very hard to find one that's MOT'd and in pretty good condition for under 1,500 quid these days. Now, whilst we're on the subject of how much these vans are worth, it is so hard to value sort of classic cars and classic vans, as the prices are always going up or down, and people are paying different amounts for them. It is just very hard to sort of say how much it's worth. But what I paid for this van is £1,800. Now the bloke had it up on eBay for, I think it was £999, and it had so many viewers within the first couple of days. I give him a ring up, I said, look mate, what's the buy it now price? He said £2,000. Basically, my motto is strike while the iron's hot. I went down there the next evening, had a look around it, and to tell you what, from the outside there's no visible rust at all. Yes, it's been welded in a couple of areas, but I'm not too fussed about that. So I had a look around it. I said, look mate, I'm more at £1,700. He said £1,850. I said, look, 1,800 and you got a deal. Now I really do think this van is worth it. With a good machine polish, get the old rubbish hubcaps off, get the wheels nicely sprayed, I reckon this would fetch £3,000 all day long, if not a little bit more. But do let me know what you think in the comment section below. But just on that subject of how much I think this van could be worth, I'm not looking to sell it anytime soon. I'm really enjoying driving it around as my daily run around. I am a mechanic by trade. I'm constantly taking wheels and tyres and just all sorts of bits and bobs to different places, and chucking them in the back of the van is just the best way to ferry them about. But naturally I am producing a list of things that I want to do to the van already. The main one being sort out that blower motor, because yeah, I've got no heating and it is February. As I say, I might get a couple of the bits of paint done, get a couple of the naughty things out. I'm not too worried about sort of getting it perfect. At the end of the day, it is just a workhorse, and yeah, we can't make it look like show winning and perfect, because then I won't be wanting to drive it every day. If you are wondering, I have still got my Mk4 Fiesta van. It's currently having a little bit of work done by myself, so there will be an update video on that very soon. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be worrying, what about the Escort? Don't worry, the Escort is taking priority. It's still getting done for summer. I've just purchased another vehicle. It's all right, we're not going to lose track of the Escort. That is going to be done for summer, trust me. Anyway, that's about all we got time for. So if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel to see more. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you guys later.